what has substance? Now, mind you, I was probably pretty ridiculed and criticized for that until I could learn to stand in it comfortably. It's kind of like a Saint Bernard. They're born with great big feet and they have to learn to stand in them comfortably. I think we all have to learn to stand in our feet. So I was tuned in today before I got here to something on the internet which I thought isn't that interesting because I don't know about it and I don't care about it. But it had to do with the label and the judgment that something was left-wing versus right-wing. Well, here's what I think about right and left wings. I think you need both a right wing and a left wing to fly properly. However, what you really need is the center of your body, the main path, the center path, which is a path of reflection and contemplation and presence and focus. And so you could clip off the left wing and the right wing for all I care. Go to the center line. But this story was very interesting, and I know I'm kind of deviating from the galactic information, but this story has piqued my interest for the better part of a month. And it's about North Dakota, and some of you have been aware of it and what's going on out there with this pipeline going through and the violation of Indian sacred space and holy waters. In this country, very little water is drinkable. Why would that be? Because corporate greed has polluted it all. And why would that be? So that we have to buy water. And in some places you are arrested now for collecting rainwater. It's a very twisted world right now. But what happened the other day really disturbed me. There's a journalist, a top flight journalist, please, who's won all sorts of awards, Amy Goodman. Now, I have to laugh at her name. First of all, you got to love it. Goodman, are you kidding me? Just drop one of those O's. We got God in drag, known as Amy. Let's take a look. So Amy, it seems, was arrested for her journalistic approach to reporting truthfully about what was happening there. And they were going to lock her away for something like 26 years. Now, I think the reason this concerns me, and it should certainly concern you, Amy, even if she was, an obnoxious, pushy gal, but she wasn't. She was simply a very fine journalist. Well, what was happening here was a violation of free speech. And why would that be important to you? Well, if it's not important, someone like myself can't appear safely on a radio show. We can't give a thought because, God forbid, it's against what big pharma wants, big corporations want, big gov wants. And, hey, come on. Do you want to be a walking robot? But at any rate, this dear woman, that you had to see her picture. You had to listen to her. Well-spoken, gracious, not contentious. And she was simply doing her job. And then they tried to actually escalate the fact that she was, I guess, trespassing on land that she shouldn't have been trespassing on. Then they tried to escalate it to riot charges. Well, finally, today, I guess, or maybe yesterday, actually, the charges were dropped. I got to tell you, if those charges were not dropped, you and I would be in deep, deep hot water. And I kept thinking, what would I do if they weren't dropped? Where would I go? Because this country would be such a complete, dismal failure to me that the justice system would be so corrupt that it would not support her right to report things truthfully? Now, we all know that the media Every single station on the television is 100% bought and paid for. If you don't know that, well, you've been sleeping under a rock. So come out from under the rock. Nothing that you hear there is in your interest, actually. It's all bought and paid for, depending on who wants what. So when a good man, or a God man, known as a woman in this case, steps up and has courage like this, I have to tell you, I wondered, would I have such courage? Would you have such courage? I just thought it was astounding. And my thoughts to her during the night were that she be protected. She also, when she, I guess in there, I don't know, in there or out there, the details don't particularly, I don't hold on to them. But she was also made aware in there that 2 people who had been arrested, again, for simply standing up to protect their land and help you make an informed decision. One was the pediatrician, and the other, the pediatrician of Standing Rock tribe. She was threatened horribly, and the other was the head of the tribe. Both of them not only brought to jail, then, of course, the final indignity, now they have to be strip searched. Yeah, tell me about that. That is, it's demoralizing, it's dehumanizing. It's probably about one of the lowest things that mankind can do to one another, aside from out-and-out rape. So, I mean, really? Would you take a look at your own? If you're not going to learn to speak up properly and stand on the middle road, forget this right-wing, left-wing nonsense. Your wings have been clipped for so long, you don't even have any wings. But if you will contemplate and reflect, gain information, don't just dismiss it. This woman that you don't even know stood up for you and me. And you know what? You and I are very lucky that she's still alive and didn't just somehow disappear or just suddenly decide to commit suicide like so many of the other wonderful, illuminated people in this country. Just something to think about. If you want to comment on that, now's your time. 321-806-3159. 321-806-3159. And this is your lesson with Elaine Bartlett. So in this galactic information here, okay, and when it's self-existing moon, it really does have to do with defining things, defining what do you want? Now, I have a little group that meets on Wednesday evenings in my home down here in Florida. And the other evening, a gal was wanting to find her purpose, and she seemed so confused. And I just looked at her and said, well, what color is your purpose? And she didn't hesitate for a second. She simply blurted out, yellow. My purpose is yellow. Well, look to see what color your purpose is, because encoded in the color is what you've come to do, at least at this time. So next year her purpose could be blue. But right now, I just gave her right back what yellow is for. So if your purpose is yellow today, you've lucked out. Yellow has to do with the third chakra, gaining information, learning, studying. Information is light eventually, and light, of course, is wisdom. And I know this gal enough to understand that she just does happen to be learning now a lot. She's in a learning curve. So it may be expanded for her in some which way. So it was very easy to understand the definition for her of her purpose was, this week, her purpose was yellow. It also has to do with checking out. Now, this is a 4-week zone. Checking out your foundation. How solid is it? Do you need to completely detonate your whole foundation? Is your foundation rocky? Is it not built? Is your home not built soundly? And I don't mean the home necessarily your house. I mean you. Is your foundation, is it time to change your diet and have a sturdier body? Is it time to not only change your thinking, understand that your thinking is transitory, therefore it's really not real? So is it time to stop thinking so much and rebuild your foundation with just being? So every day you get to reconstruct, redesign, or construct and design your perceptions. Your perceptions are, they should always be expanding. They should be dropping. They should be expanding. Everything that your mother told you at 3 should be either dropped by now or built upon, depending on what she told you. Some parents did a great job with a good foundation. A lot in the United States, they were not available, or their lives were in such chaos that they actually couldn't give you a good foundation. So start digging. You deserve that during this particular 4-week passage. And it's interesting because the Scorpio energy will give you a lot of focus to do that. Scorpios, they're so focused. It's just delightful to see. The other thing that's really lovely about today, it's something called a galactic portal, which simply means it is a wonderful day to expand your consciousness into other areas of creation. So that could be expand into the inner earth. Who's there? Expand upward into other dimensions, other galaxies. Bond with them. It's a fantastic day to do that. I had a wonderful helper yesterday in my home doing some little things that it was just too challenging for me to do, and he was working on changing a dimmer switch for me. And interestingly enough, it had been a long day. I had many tasks for this young man. And by now, I could see he's kind of time to be done. But he did not flinch. He kept at this thing. And finally, I loved it. He started talking to the pieces of equipment. And he kept saying to them, now look, you belong in there. That's your home. Now make it easy on yourself. Come on there. Slide right in. I didn't think anybody on the planet spoke to stuff except myself. And darn it, shortly the pieces slid right in. So you can talk to your toaster if you want, and you're not going to be judged loony. Or you can talk to, again, inner earth, outer earth, the essence of you. Talk to your organs. Have you ever tried talking to your stomach? Or your spleen? Or your kidneys? Have you ever told them that you recognize they are a complete universe unto each one of themselves? And you honor them for the work that they're doing, no matter what kind of low-test gas you insist on putting in? You know, for years I put low-test gas in my body, kind of thinking, oh, well, I just have a sweet tooth. It's okay. But, you know, a lot of damage was done that way. So now I simply apologize to them. That's the consciousness I had at the time. And now I just appreciate them and love them for the work they do in their inner universe. Also, you know, you should check out my own inner universe of my website so that you can see some of the things that I am up to, aside from speaking to my inner self and those in outer dimensions. My website is Higher Consciousness, HIERCONSCIOUS